Okay, guys, so I was reading this article on LinkedIn and it was talking about whether companies will offer a $30,000 raise to employees to come back to the office or let the employees work from home. Can you guess which one the employees picked? I'll tell you what I would have done. Well, if you watched my first video last year, April 2020, it'll give you a clue of what my answer would be. But let's talk about it. Yeah. Okay, so if you haven't guessed, the answer is 64% of employees would pick work from home option versus a raise. 64%. So more than half of the people agree that they don't want to go commute to work. And a lot of times it was like the answer was to give you more time to do leisure things or hobbies and stuff. You don't have to worry about commuting time. Some people like, I can wear my pajamas. It ranged, right? But if you watch my journey from last year, I work from home and I'm actually 100% remote. My office is actually in Washington, D.C., so I never go in the office. I'm obligated to go up to 4 times a year, but I haven't gone since I've been on remote for the last 3.5 years. So I like it. And if you saw me, it's like it gives me time to take a break in between doing my work, go do a load of laundry. I still get dressed for the day and everything, but it definitely gives me a different kind of freedom that I wouldn't have if I had to get up and commute, especially if I was living in the DC area, commute into work. I used to take the train, the metro, and you had to allow for traffic. If you drove, all that kind of stuff, I wouldn't trade it. But let's talk about this would you rather that these companies are playing with employees right now. Okay, before I get into it, comment below. I want to know how many of you guys, let's do a little poll. How many of you guys would rather get a $30,000 raise or work from home? I want to see what you guys think because, I mean, everybody might have different reasons. If you're a real extrovert, perhaps you want to go in the office because you like the social aspects of seeing people on an everyday basis, like in person, and you like that, and your commute is not too bad. That gives you time to do other things, maybe listen to your podcast on the way to work. So maybe you actually like commuting to work, and you like, yeah, I could use extra $30,000 a year. Or if you're on the other side and be like, no, work from home, it gives me the conveniences that I couldn't have. Like my commuting time was 3 hours a day. I don't want that. Give me something else. I'll find other ways to make up that raise thing. But comment below. I want to know what you guys think. For some people, there's no such thing as a work-life balance. It's a work-work balance, and everything gets in when you fit in. But I read Michelle Obama's book, and she said you can have it all, but you're not going to be great at everything. So, like, she was giving an example of trying to be a great mom and a great employee. Something's going to suffer. You can't be excellent at things at the same time, at least. What I find is that the work from home freedoms allows me to try to be better, have a better work-life balance because I have the freedom, because I don't have to make that commute to work. I have more time to, get up and take my son to school in the morning and not feel rushed by the day. I have the conveniences of working later at night if, once he goes to sleep. So I think that those freedoms are unmatched when it comes to like, what would I choose, whether a raise. Now, granted, I always want extra money. But what will happen is, because I have that extra 3 hours a day of commute time, well, some people's commute time might be 3 hours a day, like an hour and a half there, hour and a half back. In those times, perhaps you can pick up a side hustle, and that can make it for the fact that you may not get a raise. But to be honest, I think that these companies, companies were Amazon, Microsoft, Google, other, bigger companies that could really afford to pay their employees more money. Like they're putting a would you rather game. Like, this is not kindergarten, you don't play would you rather in kindergarten. This is not like a 6th grade would you rather. Like, these are people's lives. And if you have the extra funds to kind of like dangle it in front of them, like, come to the office, or if you don't come, you don't get this money. I think that's not fair because it just puts into perspective, like, you really do have the money. And if the employees are producing work, then why wouldn't you give them more money? At my job, it's a way of like measuring whether I'm doing my work or not. Like if I don't turn any work in, I'm not doing work. And it's kind of like a gauge. We have a fiscal year, and if I don't turn a certain amount of cases, then they're like, okay, what have you been doing, right? So I think certain measures could be made. Now, I know there are some employees that don't even have that option. Let's say like doctors, nurses who are essential workers who actually don't have a work from home option. Some of them may have, like, maybe psychiatrists or psychologists can do like virtual therapy or things of that nature. But other ones, people have to come in and get their wounds dressed. They have to get heart surgery, things of that nature. They don't have that option of work from home. So it's talking about a different portion of the workforce. But the ones that are eligible to work, if 2020 has taught us anything, is that, oh yeah, the stuff that you said we had to do in the office, we couldn't really do from home and it wasn't no problem. Okay, let's talk about this. And what it can do also is like free up some of the overhead some of these companies have. Like they may be leasing or they own these big buildings that have high overhead. For me not to have to go into the building, I'm saving you some money because now you don't have to rent that space because I'm working from home in my own space. And at that point, yes, a lot of them might write it off for tax purposes, but some of them is like, it's a big overhead cost that all of it is not getting written off. So what can we do? You're cutting your bottom line. Why are you not passing on some of those benefits to your employees? That's what a good employer would do. So if you're new to this channel, then I'm a lawyer, and I know a lot of times people think of lawyers like, oh, don't you have to go to court? And not all lawyers have to go to court. Some lawyers are transactional lawyers where everything is done on paper. We don't have to see a judge for anything necessarily in a courthouse. We can actually do stuff through transactional work. And in that case, I can do my work from home. If I need to speak to anyone, I can talk to them on the phone. I don't need to have face-to-face interaction. So for those potential pre-law students, law students trying to figure out some options, check out my first video about how to make 6 figures from working from home. And know that if you want to be a lawyer, you can be a lawyer and work from home. You don't have to be a litigator. I know Law and Order, that's fake. Okay, first of all, but not all lawyers have to actually go to court. And you can make a decent living working from home and have those conveniences. And even if you're not a parent and you have other things going on, working from home allows you that time to do so. Even in my first journey, like when I started working from home, I actually even entertained like a hybrid model. So I worked from home, but then I had to be in the office one day a week on a Thursday. So it was a hybrid model. Like you could see my face one day a week, and then the rest of the days I worked from home. And I think some companies should perhaps entertain that. And I guess if I wasn't so far away from my home base, I wouldn't mind entertaining a hybrid level, because it does also foster a sense of like community with other employees by seeing them like, hey guys, catch up a little bit. But then sometimes my Thursdays in the office weren't as productive as when I was home by myself. So it was just like, this is a social hour because like I was catching up with people or, trying to just get some administrative stuff done when I was in the office. And it's just like, well, I think I was more productive when I was home than the commute that it took me to get here. So I could just say that I was here for my Thursday for the week. So I think that some companies are entertaining the hybrid model, but there are also companies that are moving towards the 100% remote model, which is what I'm doing, and which I've been doing for the last 3.5 years. So we shall see probably a shift in things because of the pandemic. Although I am an employee, I also have a company that I share with Tracy, the other attorney on the channel. And so it allows us, we can be employees and we can also be business owners. And so if you work from home, I think it gives you the freedom to do other things and to kind of put some energy into your own business as well. So yes, you have a regular W-2 job, and I'm not knocking anyone who has it because it's funding what I want to do for my other business, which is, what Tracy and I have invested our future in. So I think that it can kind of fuel any kind of plans you may have outside of your regular job. So I think that give it a chance. If you always wanted to start a business, use it as an opportunity. If you're now working from home, use it as an opportunity to do something on the side because you have that extra. Think of it, whatever time you were commuting, devote it to spending on your business. And that way it's like, this is time I would have been on driving on the road or on the train or whatever it may be. Devote it to something else instead. And that way it can be more productive. See, that's like, okay, I'm doing something with my time.